what I find with investors, especially that are targeting probate, it's kind of like they're the Wild West. They went to some seminar. They went to some seminar with some guru, and they're doing a bunch of stuff, and they're not in real estate, right? They're not actually, I'm not saying all of them, but most of them, they don't come from a real estate background. Like, it wouldn't be like for me, for example, like I have a real estate license, I've done many transactions. I'm also professionally accountable for what I do, so I have to really, stay in my lane within the laws of Texas and all of that. Well, everyone has to follow within the laws of Texas, but being licensed, I have a certain level of accountability that maybe just someone who doesn't have a license have.
Hmm.
And I find like they go to the seminar and like they think that 5 hours and a lunch is like now they've got it down. They know what's going on, right? And which is interesting because it shows you, there's a lot of wisdom in the Texas licensing law, by the way, that has new real estate agents be under a broker because there is some like apprenticeship or mentoring you need because you're dealing with high value assets, you're dealing with very serious issues, and you can really do damage if you don't know what you're doing. But in this case, it's just self-interested, right? So it's kind of like what I was saying earlier, like they're trying to like ram the deals, right? Burn and burn, you get, get as many transactions as quickly as possible. Can you kind of break down for me, like what legally, potentially, based on just your knowledge of this facts, what's some of the fallout or problems that people could have? Like this woman or man who did this, like what could come back to them if this is what you think it was?
Well, there could be an heir that was left off that affidavit of heirship, and maybe it's the sister nobody likes or something. Well, if sister finds out, she can sue and she can, go for her claim. If they did close with a title company, then they could file a claim with the title company. There's the question, I don't think she even had authority to sign a contract with this company to begin with. She should have gotten her letters of administration. Then you sign your contract with your real estate company, not before. And so there's just all kinds of problems that could have, come up with this. And she did all this just without talking to me. Just, "Oh, I sold the house. It's done."
Nancy, what's coming to my mind as I'm hearing you is the, we're coming in is kind of off that AI kind of riff that we had together here that we were talking about. We're getting into a time where we have a lot of knowledge, we have access to a lot of information, but in areas like, for example, law or medicine, not just like I'm reading, like, let's say the statute, right? I'm just reading the plain language of the text, right? There's case law, right? There's also like how courts operate. Their procedures can be different from one to the other, and so there's a lot more to it. I'm not a lawyer, somewhat understanding. Maybe we'll call layman's understanding. In real estate, it's similar. Granted, there are a lot of real estate agents that are out there. Not all of them are the same. Not all of them have the same level of competence or experience. Like if you take a very experienced broker that has a lot of transactions under their belt, similar to like yourself, an attorney that has a lot of cases under their belt, you're looking at this on a bird's eye view. And I'm sure, I've no doubt about it, you're able to see the whole field and the landmines, the strategy, like maybe you can approach it various ways, but given the people involved or the facts, maybe
Mhm.
it's better, we can do this, but maybe it's better to go this way, more chance of success, a better outcome, right? And I feel that we're kind of diminished, like as people have more available knowledge and we can get very quick answers, and there seems to be less and less trust for people in professions, like, for example, law or medicine. We feel like we can figure the whole thing out ourselves. Also, we're trying to save money, right? We're trying to save money. We think we can save money by trying to figure it out. From your point of view, and what do you see in terms of like, do you agree that that's the case? And if so, what would you say to people out there that are maybe trying to like DIY it? What's your take on that?
Doing probate with houses, we deal with a lot of realtors, and I've seen some realtors that don't need to be in the real estate business. they do things like, I personally don't think you can sign, an executor has authority to sign a listing agreement until they're appointed the executor, but they're
Mhm.
doing it anyway. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you can't do that. And so we run across real estate agents that really, really don't have a clue.